Hi, and welcome to my instructional video on simple balloon twisting. I twist balloons all across the country, and people always ask the same questions. How did you get started? How do you remember? Why do my balloons keep popping? I'm going to answer those questions on this video and also teach you to do some very simple balloon animals. So get ready, it's going to be fun. Okay, before we get started with the actual twisting, I think it's best that I go over a few of the basic twists we're going to be using during this video. Now I know this is going to be kind of dull, kind of boring, but when we go into the twisting, they'll make things a lot easier. So when I mention something, you'll know what I'm talking about. Let's get started. If I say a bubble, what I'm talking about is when you twist a balloon like this. This is a bubble. This is about a 1-inch bubble. You would get a 2-inch bubble. So if I tell you to twist 3 1-inch bubbles, you go 1, 2, 3. Now if you noticed, I twist in the same direction each time. If I go twist towards me, when I go to the next bubble, I continue to twist towards me. By doing that and holding the ends, they all stay twisted. Now, if I say twist a 2-inch bubble, then a 1-inch bubble, then another 1-inch bubble, this is what you would wind up with. You'll be seeing this later on because I'll tell you to hold these two sides together, grab these two bubbles, and twist them like this. When you let go, it stays. You will be seeing that twist later on. Now, in some cases, I'll be telling you to make what's called a loop. That's just you fold the balloon, you grab and you squeeze and twist. You now have a loop. Now, one thing about the grabbing and squeezing and twisting, always when you grab and squeeze, you do it flat-fingered. You never grab with your pointed fingers because that's what causes the balloon to pop. If you notice, what I have here is a loop with a 1-inch bubble. During the videos, I'll be saying twist and give yourself a 1-inch bubble. That's what I mean. Loops can be very small. They can be like this. That's a very small loop. Or they can be very large. For instance, if you're doing a hat, you'll be making a very large loop like that. So during the video, as I mentioned, loops and bubbles, now you know what I'm talking about. One of the videos I'll be showing you how to make a parrot. That's a little bit harder, so I thought I would show you this up close. You make a 1-inch bubble, then you grab the stem, pull it down, and make about a 1.5-inch bubble holding the stem. So then you have a shorter bubble, a longer bubble, that will form the parrot's head. Now holding it again, you make what is called a bird body. You make a large bubble, about a 4-inch bubble or so, fold it, and twist it again. So you made a loop with a twist in the center. We're now going to go down and measure, make a twist here. What we're going to do is we're going to push this through the others. We're going to roll it through. It goes through the other side. And it locks it into place. So there you have the bubbles you'll be using. This is known as a bird body, this 3-bubble function. So that's how you do the beak, the head, and the bird body. So that will come in handy a little bit later on when I'm talking about making a parrot. Another one that's a little bit harder is when I was talking about making a heart, and we're going to distort this balloon. So I decided I would show you this part up close so you'll understand it when you see it later on. You grab about in the center, put your hand here, and just pull it between your fingers. So you got a group, and it already looks like a heart. You squeeze and pump air in and out of it. When you let go, it'll retain that shape of the heart. So now you know what I'm talking about later on in the video when I talk about this shape and distorting a balloon. Okay, I think those are all the main twists that you're going to be seeing me use throughout the videos. I'll be doing a couple other things. For instance, I will tell you to tie the ends together. And you just tie it in a knot there. Remember, when you inflate it, do not inflate it all the way. Otherwise, it will pop when you start twisting it. Make sure also you squeeze it so it becomes what we call soft. And that makes it easier to twist and also eliminates some popping. Okay, you got the basics. Now let's get on to the twisting. First, a couple of safety issues. Please do not stretch and pop people with balloons. It stings and it's just not cool. Number two, I tell everyone I give balloons to, do not eat the balloons. Now that's out of the way, let's continue. Okay, now before we get started, you're of course going to need a few supplies. First, you're going to need balloons because it's very hard to twist balloons without balloons. These balloons are known as 260s, which means when they're fully inflated, they're 2 inches by 60 inches long. They normally come in a bag like this, and you can find them at your local party store. Also, I suggest getting a pump to inflate the balloons. Some people may want to inflate them by mouth, but to start off with, I suggest getting a pump, and they're only a couple of bucks. Last, you're going to need a Sharpie to decorate your balloons. Draw mouth, eyes, things like that. I suggest using a Sharpie because the solvent inside will not damage the balloons. Some solvents will actually melt the balloons. So, once you get all these supplies together, you're ready to go. Let's go on to the first balloon. The first balloon we're going to do is also one of the most popular balloons and one of the easiest. We're going to make a sword. When you inflate the balloon, always leave space at the end. Every time you twist the balloon eats up a little more space. It gets tighter and tighter. Some people, when they inflate the balloon all the way and then start twisting, it almost immediately pops. That's a tip from me to you. So, you inflate the balloon, leave some at the end, and then just squeeze it a little bit. It will use up that space and soften up the balloon so it won't pop as easily. Now, we'll take the balloon and fold it over. And you're going to do about the width of your thumb to forefinger and grab it right like that to where you have about an inch bubble right there. Squeeze it real hard. Don't be afraid it's going to pop. Squeeze it, and then just twist this in. This is what you wind up with. A loop on the end with a small bubble there. Loop on the end, small bubble there. Remember that. You're going to see that again later on. Now, you take the other end and simply thread it through the hole. Pull it down until it's about the width of your hand. Squeeze it a little bit, and then I always do this. And there you have it. You have a sword. Very simple, very easy, very popular. Remember what we did? We did a loop, bubble, thread it through. Remember that, because each balloon we do is going to build on your knowledge. So you can take what you've already done, all you have to do is do it again. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, the last balloon we did was a simple sword. Now the shape of this one is normally referred to as a pirate sword. But some people may want a different type of sword. So I'm going to show you how to make a different one. Very easy, very quick. You take your balloon again, you've inflated it, you have a little bit of space at the end, just like before. Remember that. Then we're going to make a Z or an S, depending on how you're looking at it. So you're taking it right like this. And what you want this to be about the width of your hand. Squeeze it, squeeze all of them, and then twist them all together. And you wind up with this mess. But if you take this, move it around like this, you then wind up with a cross-hilt sword. A lot of times when I'm doing swords, I'll ask them, would you like a Pirates of the Caribbean sword or a Lord of the Rings sword? The moms and dads don't know there's a difference, but the kids do, and they think it's cool that you do also. So remember, this is sword number 2, and as I told you before, remember this twist, the S twist, where you make an S, squeeze it, and then twist it, because we are going to be using this again. As I told you before, we're going to take what you already know and build on it. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to turn this pirate sword into a snake. Now just to review, you already know for the pirate sword, you simply make a loop, thread it through. Now for the snake, all you have to do is continue to pull this through until it gets right there and there's no longer a gap here. Then what we're going to do, we're going to squeeze the balloon, wrap it in a couple of circles, and just squeeze it. And that will cause it to make this weird shape. There you have the shape of our cobra. Now I'm going to take a Sharpie and do just a little bit of decoration, not much at all. Just a few lines, a few X's, I'll show you that. A couple of eyes, some lines on the back, and you have a cobra. So that shows you once you've learned just a few twists, you can use them over and over again to make new animals and new creations. So far, once you learn just how to do the sword, you automatically can do a snake. One thing you'll get asked to do a lot is, can you do a dog, or can you do a puppy dog? It's one of the classic balloon animals. So I'm going to show you how to do a puppy dog using twist you already know how to do. So we're going to once again fold like we did before, but we're going to fold a little bit more. Right like that. Then we're going to go in, before we went here for the 1-inch bubble, we're going to go into the middle and twist. So now we have our same loop, only it's not as big, and a larger bubble. That has become our dog's head. This is his nose, this is his ears. Now, we have to do something to create his legs. Guess what we're going to do? The exact same thing. So we're going to fold it again, squeeze and twist, and we have the loop. Then we'll come here with this, fold it again, squeeze and twist. We have another loop. So we have 3 loops exactly the same, just like we did on the sword. Only in this one we have a larger part here, a larger part here. Now we just turn it around. You have just created the classic balloon dog. Wasn't that easy? And it's stuff you already know. Now then, there are several things you can do to make adjustments to this. For instance, if you wanted a floppy eared dog, what I do is I push the nose through the ears, right like that, and push down. Now you have a floppy eared dog. Once you made one dog, you can do a whole bunch of dogs. All you have to do is change the length of the bubbles and the size of the loops. I'll show you. Once again, we'll start off with the first twist, which is the head. This next twist, we're going to do a little bitty bubble, right like that. See how small that is? And then come down to the end, do another little bitty bubble. Now we take and we put the nose through like we did before, turn it around and push. We now have a weenie dog. All we did was to adjust the size of the bubbles and the length in the center. Now then, you can carry this on and do any shape you want. Please remember, it's your dog. Whatever size you make it, it's automatically right. So get out there and start twisting a whole pack of dogs. Oh, by the way, you can decorate it with eyes and a mouth if you want to. Now, some of you may have figured this out already, but you can do other animals other than dogs and use the same twist. For instance, if we take and we do a little twist here, a little twist here, and a little twist, so you have these bubbles in the middle. Now then, remember, as long as you hold one end and the other end, and you twist in the same direction, your bubbles will not come apart. Now we fold this down. We're going to grab these 2 bubbles and twist it around. Now you've made a nose and little bitty ears. 2 little bitty ears. From there, we're going to come down, about halfway, and do a twist, loop twist. Come down to the end and do a loop twist about the same size. So we have 2 the same. And look what we have. We have created a giraffe. So now you can not only offer them 2 different types of dogs, you can also, well, how about a giraffe? And use the same twist to create it. In fact, you can almost make this look like a funny dog too. But you'll learn more about that later on. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is a parrot. One reason I want to do this one is because it uses a technique called a bird body. It's a technique that can be used to do dozens and dozens of other shapes. So I want you to learn it here. It's real easy, but then you'll know how to do it. First, we're going to do the head. The way we do that is we twist off a small bubble, about a 1-inch bubble, twist it down, grab the nozzle with these fingers, and then twist that. That gives you the parrot's beak and the head. Keeping your fingers there, come down about a fist width, twist, right like that, fold it down, then twist these together. When you do that, that will keep that from coming apart. Then we're going to come up, measure, get about the same, and then this is the top part. We're going to roll this part in between. So now that you have those three parts together like that, that is what is known as a bird body. Now you're in the know. So you have the head, you have the bird body. The only thing else you need is the tail. But this works really cool because we're going to come up, figure out we want a tail about that long, put it right there, and twist it together. Once you finish, you can position your bird however you like it, and you wind up with the parrot's beak, head, body, and tail, but also you have this big loop. Here's what they're not expecting. You take the loop, you put it on their arm, and now the parrot rides on their shoulder. You combine this with a sword, you have the beginning of a whole pirate outfit. Now I'm going to teach you something that's a little more advanced. You've learned some of the basic twisting. Now I'm going to teach you about balloon shaping. Let me explain what I mean. If you take a balloon, if you fold it and grab and squeeze the edge, once you let it go, it will stay in that shape. That way you could take and you can make all sorts of weird shapes, letters, things like that. But let's do one of the most popular ones. Let me show you how to make a heart. We'll start off with a red 260, just like all the others. We'll come to the end, and we're going to grab the end and just twist two bubbles together. Just right like that. Now, we come and we find the top. This is going to take some practice, but once you get it, it'll be really worth it. You find the center. I take and I put two fingers right here and pull it down between my fingers, and I grab it. Then I squeeze this a few times. You now have a heart. Now then, this is very popular around any holidays, anniversaries, everything. So spending a little bit of time to learn to do this is really worth it, because you can also put it on top of a hat, or you can do two hearts linked together. So just remember that. It'll come in handy a lot of times. Okay, let's talk about hats. Now then, one thing you may run into is your balloons not being long enough for what you want to do. The secret is you can stretch the balloons. Just work with it slowly, and you can get a few more inches out of it. Now, the first part is take a measurement of the head. Just come around like that so you know how big the head is. Then guess what we're going to do? The exact same thing we've been doing. We'll take and we'll squeeze and we'll make a loop. This is just like the very first loop we did, only this part is bigger. And then you have this part here. Now then, there are several things you could do with it. If we take it and attach it here, you have one of your basic helmets, which is the foundation for so many balloons because you have several places you can attach a balloon. If you take it, twist it around to the front like this, you have a basic princess crown. But what we're going to do is we're going to take and put it here, and if you take and just push the bubble around, you now have a basic helmet. Some people, that's fine, but not for you. Because what you can do, once you have that, then you can take your heart, once again, just like I did before, just push, loop the bubbles around. You now have a heart hat. Incredibly popular, very easy to do, but it makes you look really cool. Wow, can you imagine? You already know how to make 9 different balloons. And now we're ready for number 10. And number 10 is a 2-balloon balloon. We're going to show you how to make a simple flower. There are dozens of ways to make flowers. This one is really simple. Start off with your balloon just like before. The only difference is we're going to grab the nozzle and grab this little leftover part of balloon here and just tie them together. Sometimes that is the hardest thing in balloons. Next, we squeeze to make sure everything is even. We're going to put a thumb here and a thumb here and just pull. And that kind of centers your thumbs up. Push them together, twist. So now you have this, which in fact this can be used for wings on bumblebees, butterflies, and other things. Okay, next we're going to take this, fold it, and we're going to do the same thing again. Like I said before, a lot of what we're doing is the same thing over and over and over again. Thumb here, squeeze, and twist. And this is what you wind up with. This is the top part of your flower. Now some balloons, if it needs a base to set up, you can actually make this, put it down, and attach the balloon here. Next, our stem. What we're going to do is we're going to take and twist a little bubble here, just like we've done before. And we're going to take it and just push it there. We're not putting it around, we're just pushing it in to the center, and it stays. Isn't that cool? Once you get that, we're going to do something we did way back in our second sword. Remember the S twist? Coming about in the middle of this, we do your S, grab in the center, and twist. That adds the leaves to your flower. So now you have a quick, simple way to make a flower. Well, we come to the end. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I hope to see you at one of my events real soon, and maybe you show me what balloons you can twist. And the final word is, remember, don't eat the balloons. This is Dr. Osborn saying bye-bye. Oh, hello. I'm Dr. Osborn. Welcome. Right now, the only people around are you and me and the computer. I know you're all going crazy having to be at home, so I put together this training via the internet to allow you to learn some new magic tricks and other weird stuff so that when you get together with your friends, you'll be able to freak them out. Hence the name, Freak Out Your Friends. Now, before we get started, a little housekeeping. All the tricks in this video are very simple, and most of the time you can find the things around the house. But never tell anyone the secrets to the tricks. That is just between you and me. Coolness. Let's get started. Have you ever wished that you could see into the future? With this next trick, you might be able to convince your friends that you can. In front of me, you see 2 stacks of cards. Now I'm going to let you choose whichever stack you want. But I must warn you, I've already written down a prediction knowing what you're going to choose before you even choose it. Now, since you can't be here, we're going to have the computer choose one of the stacks. Computer, please choose one of the stacks. Okay, the computer has chosen this stack. In this stack, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. In this stack, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've chosen a stack with 7 cards. My prediction says you will choose the 7 stack. Now I know what you're thinking. The computer made that decision for me and I really didn't get to choose it. But here's the trick. No matter which stack is chosen, your prediction will be correct. If they had chosen this stack, instead of counting the cards, you would actually show them what the cards were. The 4 sevens. And then you would show this stack as a bunch of odd cards. So if they chose this one, your prediction of you would choose the 7 stack would still be correct. And remember, it's very important, never do the same trick twice in front of the same people. It's easier for them to figure out the secret. One of the classics of magic is the standard pick a card trick. I'm going to show you a version that's real easy to do. You start off with a completely mixed up deck of cards. You then allow your friend to choose any card they want to out of the deck and not let you see what it is. I'm going to show it to you so you can understand what we're doing. For instance, if they chose the Ace of Clubs, you would then cut the deck, have them put their card on top, and complete the cut. So their card is lost somewhere in the deck. You can even allow them to cut the deck again. It doesn't really matter. You start counting off the cards one at a time. Then at a certain point you stop and you say, I believe this is your card. You turn it over and it is their card. The way this works is using a technique called a key card. What you have to do is simply remember the bottom card on the deck. Don't let people see you looking at it, but just peek and remember, for instance, the 5 of diamonds. You then cut the deck, allow them to put the card in, finish the cut. You have just put the 5 of diamonds on top of their card. You can even cut it again. It won't change it. You start counting until you see your key card, the 5 of diamonds. There it is. Once you see that, you know the very next card is their card. It's a way that you can find a card even though you've never seen it. You might just actually convince your friends you can read their mind. Now let's learn a new version of the game hide and seek. But this is one you'll always win. You start off with a sheet of paper. In the center, you write your name and then the name of 8 of your friends around it. You then tear it into individual squares. Your friend can then take the squares, mix them up, and hand them one at a time behind your back. And without looking, you can tell him which is your name. How does it work? Take a look at it and tell me what is different about this square than all the others, other than the fact that it is red. It is the only square that does not have a straight edge on it. All the other squares on the outside have a smooth, straight edge. All 4 edges of this are torn. So when this is put behind your back, all you have to do is feel the edges. If you feel an edge that's smooth, that's not you. And once you feel an edge on all 4 sides that are rough, you know that is your name. You can even have them fold them up. All you do is when it gets behind your back, you unfold it, feel the edges, and fold it back up again. And you can always find your name. One of the real secrets of magic is creating a story around the trick you're going to do to make it sound more unusual. That way it's not a case of you walking up and saying, would you like to see a magic trick? You could walk up and say, you know, I went to my eye doctor, he did an examination, and he told me something unusual. I have X-ray vision. Here, I'll show you. We take a deck of cards and place them in the card box. The deck has been mixed up by your friend. Now what you tell them is you're going to take the deck and you use your X-ray vision to tell you what card you're going to pull out. For instance, I'm going to pull out the 8 of clubs. The next card will be the 3 of spades. The next one will be the Queen of spades. Queen of diamonds. Now then, 2 things. 1, no, I do not have the deck memorized. And 2, yes, they were thoroughly shuffled. The trick isn't in the deck. The trick is in the box. Take a look. In the back of the box, there's a window cut, which allows you to see each card that is being taken out before it's ever removed. Wearing a mask may seem kind of awkward at first, but it actually means that you can be a ventriloquist. Hey, Dr. Osborn, how are you doing today? Well, that was kind of weird. Being on your computer is a lot of times a lot of fun. Also on your computer, it's a great source for what's known as optical illusions. Here's a few for you to take a look at. Look carefully. How many legs does this elephant have? Look again. Count them. Are you sure? Take a look at this. Count the number of white dots and the number of black dots. It looks like they keep changing. This is not a video effect. This is an optical illusion. You can test it yourself by pausing this video so the frame stops, but the illusion continues. On this one, take a look at the horizontal lines. Are they evenly spaced and parallel to each other? No. Watch now as I remove the black squares. You see, they are. Just once again, it's an optical illusion. Oh, hi. Dr. Osborn here in my library. Now, I know some of you are upset because your summer reading programs have been canceled. But don't let that stop you from reading. It's very important. You can learn all sorts of valuable things. For instance, I'm learning to read in a different language. It makes no sense whatsoever. But to help you out, I've got something special for you over here. Bad dad jokes. I drank a little food coloring and I died a little bit inside. An invisible man married an invisible woman. Their kids were nothing to look at. Was black and white and blue. A depressed zebra. What did the grape say when it got stepped on? Nothing, but it let out a little whine. How did Darth Vader know what Luke got him for Christmas? He felt his presence.